Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is where you are. Welcome back to another episode on the Annoyed Dad channel. Where have you been? Hey, come on, this ain't good enough. It's been ages since we last spoke. So anyway, let's give you an update. It's a Sunday night and look, the campsite is empty. Nobody's here other than me. There is the tent over there. You would have seen the bow tent, and that's coming down in a couple of days because nobody's booked it for the next week or so, so I'm going to take it down. So I just thought we'd start off up here and then we'll go down and we'll have a look around in the yard and everywhere else like that, and we'll see what's been going on, and I'll explain what happened with the ducks, because if you've been waiting for the update on the ducks, you've been waiting a long time, haven't you? So anyway, the campsite is absolutely flying. Between the campsite and my work and everything else, I just haven't had the, inclination to want to pick up the phone and to record anything. Sorry, but because of the low sun, you're going to see my shadow all the time in this video. But there we go. So you can see I've moved the solar down here. I actually moved it down, and I moved our panels down. They were working perfectly fine up in the yard. Moved them down here, installed them, and for whatever reason they just stopped working. There was nothing from them. So I was like, damn! So I had to buy 2 new panels. So as you can see, all the profit you make from the campers and that all goes onto these sort of like things. And I got some of these. These are brilliant fire extinguishers on trolleys that have the bell at the back of them. So you turn it around. Fire! No, there isn't really. Nobody ran, nobody called a fire brigade. But yeah, I picked those up at auction. I got 3 trolleys, so I've got 1 trolley there. I got 1 over by the toilets. Pointing into the sun, shouldn't do that. And I got 1 down the end there. And I picked up in another lot about 30 fire extinguishers. I only need 6. So I've been having some fun with them, and I'm sure friends and family who come to stay are also going to have some fun with some fire extinguishers. But yeah, so we got loads of fire extinguishers. I think I paid about 30 quid for the whole lot, but it come from auction rather than buying it off of eBay and that sort of like thing. And yeah, you'll see down there, see ice packs, thermos ice packs. I was going through the bin this morning, not that I'm like a bin rummager, but like, you see how people just chuck stuff in the bin? They don't bother to put it into bags or anything. So I was grabbing the stuff out and I was putting it into bags before getting rid of it. And they were in there. I've had brand new inflatable beds, gazebos, brand new ones, loads of sort of stuff that people just bring along to camp with and then just decide, oh, we'll just put it in the bin. What? Yeah, they must be like that. So yeah, as I said, so the solar's all in here now. Oh, you haven't seen this either, have you? This is the honesty shop. This is where people can buy stuff. And this actually started out as a shed that was about 2.5 times bigger than what it is now. But it was rotten and it was falling down, and they had a rat infestation, and they asked me to come and take down the shed, and I was like, yeah, sure, I could use the good parts of this shed to be able to do something else. And they're like, how much are you going to charge us? And I said, lots of money. And they said, yeah, crack on with it. So now it's an honesty shop. See, look at that. You can come and visit Annoyed Dad's campsite, have some marshmallows with some digestives and some chocolate. What's they call that? That's a s'more, isn't it, when you do that and that and that? And you can have some beans to keep you warm during the night. You can have some flapjacks to give you some energy. And you got your breakfast up there, see? 90p for long life milk, £1 for your cereals. Pot noodles to keep you going, you know. That's all the teenagers eat. We've had quite a few A-level groups, and we're just going off to uni, so we're having our last little getaway because we can't afford to go to Ibiza sort of like weekend, and they just grab all of the pot noodles basically and run away with them. But anyway, yeah, so solar, we got it running on the 2 batteries. I got some of these car chargery type thingy-madoofers on the side there, and they seem to work out all right. Everybody seems to love them. I've got it all wired up in there. That thing on the left there is the energizer for the electric fence. But I have got plans. I did at the same auction where I got the fire extinguishers, I did get a massive inverter, a big 3000 watt thing, and I did plan on putting in like a fridge and that, but the inverter wasn't working. Plus it works off of 24 volts, which means I have to change the wiring for all of the batteries, everything else like that. I just haven't had a chance. I just haven't got round to it. Oh, they've also changed our bus timetables as well, so we've now got more buses coming past, which is even better. Everybody seems to love that sort of thing. Right, other than the ones from London, I do find a lot of people from London, this is a big thing, A lot of people from London, and I'm not generalising, but you know, a lot of people from London have turned up, and they've come up to me and they've said, "Hi, annoyed dad." I'm like, yes. My Uber app isn't working. What's going on with it? And I'm like, well, what's the problem? It's just spinning. It's saying that there's no driver available. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's because you've come down to Hastings, and because Hastings is like 1942 still, there is no Uber down here. You won't get an Uber, and you'll probably have to wait like half an hour for a bus, or you have to wait a few hours if you ring the local taxi company. And they're like, no one beyond this point. And then they just stand there and they stare at you as if you're speaking some sort of like foreign language to them. Like, Uber not work? And you're just like, no, you won't get an Uber around here. But yeah, that's a bit of a culture shock for some people, I think. And but I find it quite entertaining, quite interesting to see that people turn up expecting these things just to work like chung 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 chung, and it doesn't. So I've ended up having to drive people around and do various things for people. The bees have gone absolutely ballistic this year. We've actually done really, really well. Even though it's been wet and it's been manky and it's been horrible, there's going to be a good honey harvest coming off of them this year, which I am really, really pleased about. See, this is the orchard from the outside. And right, let's go round in there and I'll show you my plums. I think this wet weather has really, really helped with the fruit on the trees this year. There is like so much of it. The trees need a good old pruning, that is for absolutely certain. When the apples start coming through, they are going to be crazy. We're going to have loads of them. See, even the pears they're nowhere near ready yet. But the amount of rain is, I reckon it's certainly going to make for a bigger fruit. Nowhere near ready. But yeah, the plum trees are just hanging with fruit. We didn't get any cherries again, because as I keep on saying that you only have cherry trees to feed the birds, because that's all that they do, is just feed the birds. So there we go, so that's in here. There's nothing in there at all. Right, let's go and explain, let's go and walkabouts. Actually, before we do, let's just explain quickly something here. So this is the International Harvester. I'm trying to close a gate behind me. There we go. Right, so yeah, so this is the B275. You can see I've got extra bolts up there. What's he doing with extra bolts up? Well, I'm actually trying to take off the fuel injector. Because the fuel injector is leaking like a sieve, so it needs to be taken off, but there's one bolt I just cannot get to, and I need to get the right sort of like a socket, because the sockets I've got, they're like thin at the bottom and then they go thick for where it clicks into the thingy. I need to find one that's thin all the way through. So yeah, I have been working on that, and don't tell my dad, but I've been working on the 35 as well. Now this one is slightly better. Right, let's go down here. But this, if we go down here and you can see, so you can see I've had to put a new lift pump on it because the old one was totally not working. And this is the fuel injector, the same thing as we just looked at over there, but slightly different model. Now on this one, there's a little flap in there that goes backwards and forwards, and that acts as the fuel and like a shut off to close off the fuel if you're whenever you want to stop it. Now at some point in its life, somebody had pulled the lever to stop the fuel and had left it out, so the flap then became stuck in the closed position, so as it wouldn't allow any fuel up to the injectors up here. Now what I had to do was take off the lid here to free that up, and in doing so I managed to break off one bolt there that I've been able to replace. You can just make out the nut and a bit of the bolt. But also the gasket that goes in between this lid and the main bit, I managed to totally ruin that. So when I tried to start it up again, there's actually quite a bit of fuel pressure, and I didn't realise quite how much pressure there actually was. And there's like fuel just in various places along here and down the side, just going bzz, 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 every time it goes through with the pump and that. So yeah, I need to fix that gasket, and then fingers crossed, hopefully, other than a few leaks up at the top here, but I'm not sure if that's because of loose, yeah, that'd be because of loose injectors. I can turn that one with my hand, because there was also a few bits of fuel dripping down from up there. Fingers crossed, that should be it. It should then fire up. You can see I've got my tools over there to the side, but I need to move this. Oh, let me get back out of the way. So I want to move that tractor and the one behind it. They both need to be moved. If I can get this front one going, I can then use that to tow the one behind it. Even though the brakes are seized, hopefully that will knock the brakes out and it'll actually get them going. Because in here, I've got a new marquee thing that's going up. So it's going to be like 6 meters long by 3 meters wide, because I need more work storage. Because as I was saying, work stuff is going mad. If you want to see some work videos, let me know down below and I will take you along on some, and you can see the sort of stuff that I get up to during the week. Right, so in there, that's mostly storage as well. Mostly for the camping stuff. See, look in there. See that? All these bags are like duvets and pillows. You can see the mattresses over there that people sleep on. There's a few bits there that have got to go up to the auction house at some point, and various other bits and pieces. So right, let's go here and we will show you that in there is empty. So we actually brought the ducks up. The ducks from our last lot of videos, we brought them up and they went into here and they were happy as anything in there. They were doing perfectly fine. The turkeys we actually left at home. Well, no, that's a lie. The turkeys came up for one day, but they were struggling with the cold weather because it was back when it was wet and horrible. That could be last week, couldn't it? But yeah, it was a few weeks back. So I took the turkeys back home. The ducks were doing fantastically in there, and then I don't know how, but something got in there. We ended up with just having one duck's body left behind. So I don't know if it was a fox, I don't know what it was, but there was something that got in there and it just wiped them all out. Plus, what you also don't know is that we have had various other incidents. There's some birds in there. And we have lost well, you know that we'd already lost every single one of our other ducks, which is why we was hatching the ducks that went into here. And we also had another attack that wiped out almost all of our chickens. I think we're down to something like 5 chickens or something ridiculous like that. So yeah, it's not been very good. See the horse over there in the goose enclosure, just up there. But we have still got all the geese. They seem to be incredibly resilient and incredibly stand-up-ish with anything that comes along and goes at them, which is good. There are actually 13 because there's a couple just in there hiding out the way. I'm going to give them some water in just a minute. So yeah, there we go. That is basically a little update for you, just to let you know what's going on. As and when I do get a chance, I will film some more and let you know what's happening. We got, obviously, because of stuff that's happened this year, we've got big plans for next year, and we'll just wait and see what happens from there. But I need to sort these guys out some water. So thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, bye bye.